class. Sorry I couldn't be there today. I am getting my COVID vaccination right now. So you have a sub and she's playing this video so you guys know what to expect during class today. There's going to be two parts. Part one is going to be Artist Check-In 24, where I'm going to do a demonstration right now, and then you're going to answer a question in the Google Classroom assignment. And then after you answer the question, you'll go ahead and do what I showed in the demonstration during the first half of class. Then you're going to go ahead and take a mask break if you are in person. If you are a remote kid, you can take a break obviously in your house, and then we'll all meet back, and then the sub will play for you the second part of today's lesson, which will be Artist Check-In number 25, and then you'll work on that, and that'll push us to the end of class today at 2:25. So what we're going to do today is take your word art project, which is from Artist Check-In 23, so your word art project that you sketched out. If you are an in-person kid, if you don't have paper, there's paper over by the door if you've forgotten your project. But other than that, if you were here on Wednesday, you should have your word sketch ready to go. So I'm going to pull, hang on a second, I got to open up my Elmo camera. Didn't realize that wasn't open. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to show you my drawing. Here we go. There we go. Okay, now you should be able to see it. So I worked on, for my word art is my coffee design. And you can see I incorporated the word coffee in the actual coffee of the mug. And we're going to be putting this in color today. That's really how we're going to be spending the whole period. But for color, I want you guys to do a couple different things. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to experiment with using more than one medium in your drawing. Okay, a medium is the material you're working in. So instead of just using all marker or only using all colored pencil, I want you to actually put the two together somehow in your drawing today. And that's called mixed media. So I want you to try to use two different mediums. If you have 3 or 4 you want to incorporate, like also if you have pen or pastel, feel free to, but definitely do at least 2 different mediums in your drawing. The next thing I want you to experiment with is 3 different coloring techniques, okay? I'm going to show you what those 3 different coloring techniques are, and then I'm going to expect you to use all 3 of them in your drawing somehow, okay? So the first coloring technique I'm going to share with you is what's called outlining, okay? And outlining is where you go around the outer edge of whatever object it is you're putting in color, okay? You just go around the outer edge. Also with outlining, I like to do what are called the inside lines too, okay? So instead of coloring in this F, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some added contour lines just to give a little bit of shadow and kind of reflection, but still using that kind of outlining feel where I'm just giving like this hard edge to all the lines of my drawing, okay? So that's called outlining. So that's one of the coloring techniques I want you to experiment with today in your word art design. The second one I want you to experiment with is when you color something in solid, okay? It's called fill, when you fill it in. And this is what you traditionally would do on a coloring book page. So you pick a color and then you say, yep, I want that object to be that color, and you just fill it in, right? You just color it in. It's solid, it's one tone. You can do this with marker, colored pencil, crayon, any material that you can just fill in. I personally prefer using a wider tip when I do coloring in things with a fill, because it just goes a little bit quicker and easier versus filling something in with like a pen tip that's really thin. Just takes a lot more time and is a little bit harder to do. So just keep that in mind too. Sometimes the broad ends of materials may work better for certain types of techniques. Okay, so that's just making something look solid. Then the last technique that I want you guys to do today is what's called value. And value is where you take a color, okay, and you basically change the tone of the color to make your object look a little bit more 3-dimensional. It's like almost giving shadow to a color. We call it a hue. So on this coffee cup, I'm going to make this coffee cup look more 3-dimensional by taking, I want it to look like a white coffee cup, so I'm going to take a gray colored pencil. And what I'm going to do is on the outer edge of my coffee cup, I'm going to shade really darkly. Okay, so you notice that I'm actually pressing down really hard and I'm going over the lines several times. So this gray gets really, really dark. Okay, and then as I get more away from the edge and I start to get more to the middle of the cup, I want you to notice that I'm loosening up my pressure. I'm gradually like softening the tone and making it more of a lighter gray. And then I'm going to continue to loosen up my pressure even more to create that three-dimensional tone. Okay, so do you see how the glare is a little bit harsh in here? It's a bright light today. But do you see how I'm getting the different tones, right? We've got this sort of really, really dark gray, and then we've got this like medium gray going on right here. And then we've got this really, really light gray, which is giving it what we call value, right? Which is making that shading. And I would do the same thing over here. I'm gonna go really, really dark, okay? And then I'm gonna loosen up, loosen up, loosen up, loosen up until I'm in the middle. I'm pretty much gonna be white because I'm, again, trying to make a white looking coffee cup. So creating that tonal, okay? So those are the three techniques of coloring that I want you to work on applying today. So one of them is playing around with outlining, so giving outer edges and inner edges to objects. The other one I want you to play around with is just making something look solid, right? Making it look flat, solid, whatever color the object is. And then the other one I want you to play around with is value. So making something feel like it's got a little more dimension to it, it's got different tones to it by changing up your pressure. You'll notice that crayon, color pencil, pastels are better for value. Markers are much harder to create value because it's liquid and you really can't change the tone of the liquid. But if you do have a marker set that has lots of values already, like for example, my marker set here, it actually has 3 different versions of every color. So I might be able to do value with marker if I happen to have a medium that has a lot of choices, okay? So that is the expectation for today's class, or at least for this first part, I should say. What you're going to do now that the demo is over is you're going to go into Google Classroom. And let me pull it up for you to look at. Hang on, I wasn't in Google Classroom. I got to load it. It's going to be just a second here. Apologize for the delay. My computer's been very slow lately. So in Google Classroom, now that the demo's over, you're going to go into Artist Check-in number 24. Artist Check-in number 24. You're probably already on it because this video is actually in Artist Check-in 24, but I'm not on it. So we have to wait for it to load. If the sub wants to fast forward me, she can till I get to this part. I'm in the middle of recording, so I can't really start and stop again. I don't really want to edit the video. Oh my gosh, Google Classroom, come on. Why are you so slow to load? Let me quit out of here. Let me try this again. I'm going to reopen. Let's see if that goes quicker. It's still being really slow. Okay, well, anyways, why don't I just explain what it looks like, so then when you guys open it up on your end, you'll be able to, I'm just gonna exit page. Okay, so I'm just gonna explain what you're doing. So you're in Artist Check-in 24, there's an image attached there. It's of 3 circles, okay? The 3 circles demonstrate the 3 techniques I just demonstrated. One of the circles is gonna be of fill, one of them is gonna be of value, and one of them is gonna be of outline. What I want you to do is in a private comment, look at that image and tell me what is circle number 3 demonstrating, what technique? And you're gonna write in a private comment what that technique is. Is it fill, is it outline, is it value? the third circle, the number 3 circle, and that's in Google Classroom Artist Check-in 24. And then until the break, you're gonna be expected to just work on your word art design using the 3 different techniques we talked about, and then 2 different types of materials. And then after the mask break, we'll come back and Sub will play you the second video, which is Artist Check-in number 25. Hope you guys have a great time coloring, and I'll see you back here in just a few minutes or so, however long you have.